everyone, in this video I want to give you my top tips and recommendations for how to treat, or more importantly, prevent any sort of razor burn or ingrown hairs that you get as a result of shaving. These are going to be tips, information, and product recommendations after years of being someone who has dealt with trying to combat ingrown hairs and red bumps or razor burn. So if you are interested in seeing what I think is the most effective way to even prevent the problem in the first place, but then also quickly treat any bumps that you get if you develop them, then this is the video for you. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. You can also follow on Instagram. If you didn't check out my other skincare video, I reviewed 5 new sunscreens that are on the market. I apply them for you and I give you my thoughts on which are the best or what are the positives and negatives of each of them. I will link that in the upper right hand corner for you to check out. Please go check it out if you haven't seen it already. All the products that I mentioned to you will be linked in the description box below. If I have any coupon codes I can provide you, of course, I will also include those. So first steps before you even get in the shower is to apply a cleanser. And there are 2 main ingredients that I want you to focus on when preparing the skin for shaving. 1 is benzoyl peroxide and 2 is salicylic acid. So these are cleansers, but I don't want you to use them in the normal way that people typically use cleansers, which is just you're already in the shower, you rub it on the skin, and then you rinse it off immediately. That is not going to give the salicylic acid or benzoyl peroxide enough time to penetrate the skin and to actually work. So the way that I have been doing it is I apply the cleanser, pick one or the other, and I leave it on for at least 5 minutes. Ideally, maybe 10 minutes before you even get in the shower. So on dry skin to whatever area you plan to shave, whether that's the underarms, bikini area, whatever. My favorite salicylic acid based cleanser is by the Inky List because it's so affordable. This is called the salicylic acid cleanser and you can purchase it through Sephora. You get 5 fluid ounces and it comes in almost like a gel consistency form, and easily at your local drugstore you can find many benzoyl peroxide based cleansers in the acne treatment aisle. This one that I have used multiple tubes of is by Oxy, and it's the Acne Cleanser Maximum Strength 10% benzoyl peroxide. You don't necessarily need 10%, you can go with the 2.5% or something lower, but I just happen to use the 10% one. And this has more of a cream consistency to it. So after you've waited 5 to 10 minutes, then you can get in the shower and rinse the cleanser off. Before I shave, I also have cleansed the rest of my body, and I do sometimes use manual exfoliation to do that. And the way I do that is with gloves. Now, you don't necessarily need to do this, and it does put your skin at more risk for potential irritation if you're over exfoliating it, if you're using a chemical exfoliator and then on top of that manually exfoliating it. So I make sure to use gloves that do have exfoliation to them, but that aren't too harsh. There are some gloves out there that are really, really scratchy, so try to avoid those. These ones that I happen to have, I'm sure I picked them up locally at my drugstore, is by Eco Tools. So you know, try to have some sort of texture to it, but nothing that's too harsh. But this is kind of an optional step. I don't think you need to necessarily manually exfoliate if you've already been using your salicylic acid or benzoyl peroxide. Now, the reason why I say one or the other is because after you shave, and very quickly for tips on shaving, one of the best ways to avoid razor burn or ingrown hairs is to shave with the grain of the hair, meaning in the direction that it grows. But of course, for people who want a very close shave, that's not going to give you the closest shave. So my recommendation is that if your hair is long enough, first shave in the direction of hair growth and then go over and gently shave in the opposite direction of hair growth to get that closer shave. And if your hair is already pretty short and you're just trying to touch up, then, you know, just be firm but gentle, shaving in the direction against the grain, and try not to do multiple passes. That means make sure you have a fresh razor. Sometimes that means you can only use your razor once or twice before you need to switch it out, and try to keep your razor outside of the shower so that it's not in a damp environment growing bacteria. All right, but after you've shaved, you should take whichever cleanser you have not used and apply that onto the skin. Now you're gonna be in the shower at this point, so it may be more difficult to make sure that you're not just washing it off right away, but try to do that. I don't know, turn around in the shower, or if it's in the underarm area, just let it sit for a while before you're cleansing it off. So if you use the salicylic acid one first, then in the shower after you've shaved, use the benzoyl peroxide one, and vice versa. I tend to use the benzoyl peroxide one on dry skin before I get in the shower, and then after I've shaved, use the salicylic acid one, but I don't think ultimately it will matter. After you have shaved and after you are out of the shower and your skin is dry or damp, you can use the same sort of tools to help prevent any sort of red bumps or ingrown hairs, or to treat any ingrown hairs or bumps that you happen to develop still. The number one standout product of the ones I'll show you, if you only want to choose one, would be Paula's Choice's 2% BHA liquid. Again, that main ingredient is salicylic acid that helps get down into the pore, into the root of the problem, and it is a chemical exfoliant. This is a complete liquid toner-like solution, so you can put it in your palms, put it on your underarms, your legs, bikini area, wherever it is you're shaving. If you don't want to purchase the Paula's Choice one for any reason, there is a great alternative by Peach Slices, which you can buy at your local drugstore or Ulta. It is cheaper than this one. It does also contain 2% salicylic acid. I just prefer this one because it is absolutely tried and true, but that is an equally good option in terms of getting the 2% salicylic acid. And both this one and the Peach Slices one are alcohol-free. And that's an important thing overall in terms of my recommendations, regardless of whether you go with my specific product recommendations or other products. Pay attention to the ingredients, not only that they include the key ingredients like AHAs or BHAs, but also that they do not contain alcohol or any sort of mentholy, eucalyptusy kind of essential oils or extracts, because those are very irritating ingredients to the skin, especially on freshly shaved, more exposed, vulnerable skin. And the fact that companies put those in there and market them as soothing, razor burn treating kinds of products is really funny and ironic, because those are ingredients that are specifically drying and irritating to the skin, especially freshly shaved skin. They do it because it gives people a sense of maybe like tingling, and I guess customers sometimes associate that with being soothing, but it's actually your skin being more irritated. So whatever products you happen to buy, make sure they don't contain alcohols, which is going to further dry out the skin, and make sure that they don't include things like menthol or mint or eucalyptus type ingredients. Another product that I have been using that I have really liked is by First Aid Beauty, and they have created, it's called the Ingrown Hair Pads. Now these have both BHA and AHA. So BHA will be the salicylic acid, and the AHA is, in this specific product, glycolic acid. And what's nice about this is they've also included some nice soothing ingredients. So they have things like glycerin, witch hazel, Camellia sinensis leaf extract, licorice root extract. So because this contains a decent amount of glycolic acid, I don't know the exact percentage, I'm not sure that it says on the product, but the glycolic acid can be irritating on freshly shaved skin. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that you use this right out of the shower. Maybe try it for the next day, because if you do happen to have any sort of cuts on the skin and you put the glycolic acid right on top of that, that can be very irritating. But these are what the pads look like. Oftentimes I'll split them in half if I'm treating a smaller area, but you get, how many do you get in here? 28 pads. So 28 uses, or if you're splitting them in half, then obviously double that. If you have much larger areas of the body, you can also use this on small areas, but particularly larger areas like the legs, it may be impractical to use something like the liquid toner, and definitely impractical to use these pads all over a large area like your legs. What I would recommend is a product like this from First Aid Beauty. This is the KP Smoothing Body Lotion. Now this has 10% AHA, but the AHA in here is lactic acid, and that is a bit more gentle than glycolic acid. Once again, you have some nice hydrators, and this is really moisturizing. So it has glycerin, urea, Camellia sinensis leaf extract. It has a bunch of ceramides, licorice root extract. So overall, this is a fantastic body lotion, but in particular to help kind of smooth the skin, this is a great choice. And then more for spot treatments, if you have a specific little ingrown hair or a small space that you have a cluster and you're really trying to target target it and quickly give some sort of a strong treatment to, I would recommend, once again, you can get in the acne aisle at your drugstore something that has 10% benzoyl peroxide. Again, you could do 2.5%. You don't have to necessarily do maximum strength, but this is the Clean and Clear Persagel 10. That is something that I have used for many, many years. And from Paula's Choice, their BHA9, which has 9% salicylic acid. So typically on the market, you will see things that have 2% salicylic acid, sometimes less, like 0.5%, but the maximum you typically see is 2%. This is obviously a much higher concentration of salicylic acid. So that's why I say if you have a specific spot that has an ingrown hair that you're trying to express, or a red bump that you're trying to really treat and target, this is the kind of product you should get. And this is really the only one that I know of that's on the market that's easily accessible. All right, I hope that these tips and product recommendations send you on a journey to fewer red bumps and fewer ingrown hairs. Let me know what you think, or if there are any other tips and tricks that you have used in the comment section below. Obviously, the active shaving I haven't really concentrated on, so make sure you have a good barrier like a shave oil or a good shaving gel, all that kind of stuff. But other than that, I hope that these help you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you in the next video.